Hey kids, it's Jurassic James. It's Jurassic James Plays. Looking at Prestosuchus. So I remember seeing this one online, and I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting." So first and foremost, my first model of Prestosuchus is a 2019. I want to say Safari. The scales, it's like it has these scale plate like squares, and the letters are on it, and it's hard to actually see. It's like really annoying. But it's a Safari figure. And so this is actually, I'm going to go over this guy first because a lot of reasons. So this is the most accurate, in my opinion, accurate model of this animal known. At, wow, so I'll say it this way. I often have shorthand. When I first became a science educator, I would be very textbook. I'd be very, and the general public don't really care about the huge details. So I often refer to these as like upright walking crocs. Now that was a thing actually. We had some more upright crocs in the Jurassic period. These guys are a different branch in general. But they're not dinosaurs, and they're not like lizards. They're something else. And so Archosauromorph is what's often referred to them about. So recently, I would have said they're Rasuchians as a group, right? And I think you're on the website, I still have Rasuchian, like, hey, this is in like quotes now because it's been reevaluated. And so what's going on is that these animals have relatives that look very much like them. So paleontologists were like, yeah, they're the same family. But then later on, people came in and said, look at the bones, look at the detail, look at the parts, and said, no, wait, they're slightly different, and give them their own names. So Prestosuchus is known from the Middle Triassic period. Now, at this point, Pangea is, remember the supercontinent formed in the late Permian, and Middle Triassic is still solid. It's not until early Jurassic where Pangea was to break apart. Now, you say Prestosuchus looks familiar, and it sounds familiar. Prestosuchus sounds a lot like Postosuchus. And so, in Walking with Dinosaurs and other media, you've seen, and I've already done a video on the Postosuchus group. There's even a Jurassic World one, hence that. So, in North America, in particular, West Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, that region, you have this animal. You have Placeris, a therapsid, a quote, what they used to call mammal-like reptiles, but they're not reptiles, but therapsid named Placeris. We have, not seen in Walking with Dinosaurs, Desmatosuchus, which means linked croc. These guys essentially are, and I always say on my tour, like they're essentially plant-eating crocodiles, but they're not really crocodiles. They're a different branch. Calling this a crocodile and calling this a crocodile is like calling you a lemur. You're not the same. Like, in fact, that's even too close, probably. So, and of course, there's the phytosaurs, these large animals that predate true crocodiles that have the same job as them. And finally, we have an animal called Coelophysis, which I told you last summer. I went to Ghost Ranch for the first time in New Mexico. Really cool place. I encourage you to go there. I should do a field trip there one day. And the idea is that this guy is an early dinosaur, one of the earliest dinosaurs in North America, and everyone knows them, and everyone loves them. So these guys are the North American late Triassic. You see these guys together a lot of times. They're in the same environment, same conditions. In the mid-Triassic South America, you find Prestosuchus. Now, one thing to point out this guy is that essentially it's a precursor. I say precursor. It's not like it's like a model. Okay, this is going to lead to that. It's just at the time it lived, it was the coolest, biggest. Well, not actually. There's one called Sarcosuchus. Saurosuchus. Sarcosuchus is the animal, I've done a video already, that lived in early Cretaceous Africa. It's a large animal that looks like a crocodile. Saurosuchus is like this guy, but bigger. And I've checked Amazon, I've checked eBay, I've checked online, and I have not found a Saurosuchus toy or model. If you know of one, I am in desperate need of one. So, sorry, as an adult man who pays bills and taxes, I'm in desperate need of a Saurosuchus toy. So if you know of anyone, put a link below or comment below. Anyway, or a link even faster. So that's found this environment. So who does he live with? I brought the two Jurassic World ones. These are two Herrerasauruses. This was more accurate. I have a video on this one. And I made the video, and I edited the video, and I realized that I had something on my face the entire time. So I think a whole new video. It's a whole weird thing. And so there's Herrerasaurus. Now, the next group of animals are representatives, meaning that this guy is someone else. Like, it feels like my time scale is a different animal, but animals like him live in the environment. This is Lystrosaurus. Animals like it live in the environment. This guy, these are different. These are animals living like a Permian or at different times. But I'm using them as representatives of the animals in this environment. So you look at this South American environment, you have this lineup. In fact, this guy is essentially the equivalent of this guy, right? And so it's different, right? It's not just a time thing because many of the animals or something like them persist into late Triassic in South America. So there was a difference in the fauna, even though they were all related to each other, but even though they are from different continents, or at the time it was all one continent, they are representing these different groups, right? And so this brings me to now. This is where we saw these, we saw those. Big deal. Now I'm gonna go. Because most of this video I feel will be me talking about what's wrong with this guy. And I will point out a call to my friend Ryan Price, who works in the HMNS prep lab, and he said because he specializes in archosauromorphs and likes these guys a lot and studies them. And when he saw this figure, he was appalled. Although he's more fire than I am. I'm very laid back, believe it or not. So here's my official scissors, Jurassic James. I like the sort and seething sound. So you clip here, clip there, and back to your container. And then it's free. There is no capture gear. All right, double check. So as far as the figure goes, I'm guessing because it's Jurassic World, there's going to be some kind of, there it is, a DNA code to show you it's DNA that you can scan, so you can have a version of this toy on your phone. That way you can, not put the toy. There's a button here. You push the button and it does that. Not a bad action. Not nothing else. The tail is solid. You can rotate this way, but that's unnecessary. The arms and legs do that. Oh, wait, is that? Oh, it's just really tight. Okay. So the arms move like this. They can go back. They can go back. Unnatural. I hate doing that, even with toys. And so, anyway, looking at this guy. What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know. Okay, so I'll start with the beginning. This one has 5 toes, 5 fingers. This one has 5 fingers, 5 toes. One of the toes is pulled up like this. That's accurate. This guy has all 5 on the ground, like a human. And so that's your first looking at the skull. To me, the skulls are so important because the skull tells you the animal's life. It tells you what it eats. It tells you how big it is. And usually you can measure a skull and get a general idea of size. That's something that you can see that this has a very, it's kind of a boxier shape. And this one has like this kind of like cartoony, I don't know what you call that, but it's not accurate. Now I didn't mention the plesiosaurs, but I noticed the teeth of these figures, they have missing teeth on top and bottom. So when a toy closes its mouth, it can interlock. And I get that it's a toy. So is this, but they got it, out of the park. But the idea is that they do that, and I'm like, that's kind of, it's neat, for kids, but it's hideous because the animals have all their teeth, and they just kind of lay side by side or something like that. They don't, like that. So that's just a little pet peeve of mine. The big thing for me when I first saw the figure like that, it's one of those things where I wish I could plug you guys into my mind because, or maybe not, maybe you can't handle it. But for me, it's like the first thing I see when I saw this was this neural spine on his back, and I was like, sorry. It's like I reached into my purse and I put up my pearls and I attached them. Then I clutched them. So I was like, why? Why would they do that? Because one of the features these guys have is that they have this osteoderms, these bony plates like things in their back. And so this guy has a sail. And my only guess, this is a stab in the dark or shot in the dark, whatever, is that they're trying to differentiate it from Postosuchus. And I say, sure, I get that, but why give animals features they don't have? What makes these groups well known, the former Ausuchian groups, is that they have this armor plating. They have they essentially look like boxy nose crocodiles that walk like this. That's their whole thing. And so to give it this sail on its back, it's kind of weird. It's like, why would you do that? Now, I do find the stance pretty interesting because, like I said, if you look at it from front, these guys are not dinosaurs. Their arms are not going directly under the body. I mentioned with the Postosuchus video, when they first found Postosuchus, they were like, oh, this is the ancestor to T-Rex. This is big, boxy-headed predator that ruled North America. Everything's settled and we're done for the lifetime. And then it's like, no, we found all the other things. It's just, the Triassic evolution is amazingly exciting and diverse and all that. So I like that the arms kind of go down. So even when I'm in the museum doing tours, you look at the legs of Postosuchus, and their legs, where the legs are, for the imagine this is their the knee is, it goes straight down from that point. And people are like, dinosaur. It's like, no, no. But the hip, the femur, this is my humerus, I know anatomy. The humerus goes in at an angle, and it comes out and goes down. And so it appears to have straight going down legs, but it still has like that, where dinosaurs are like this. And so this guy kind of retains that in the figure. This one, I think it's more of an engineering thing to give it because why else give it this really wide body? And so, like the minions, the Robin's bottom, And so the idea here is that that's something that I think maybe more engineering. Oh, I just realized this. So they have these neural spines going up, right? And these so if you don't know, on the tail of these animals, the main middle part is the vertebra, right? The caudal vertebrae, tail vertebra. The little spines coming up here are called neural spines, as we see in Spinosaurus or Dimetrodon. The ones going down are called chevrons. Normally for those features, and what we think in reality, is that those features are where muscles attach and everything, like that, right? Here, they've made it into essentially a tadpole-esque tail, making this more of an aquatic animal by definition and by features. That is not a thing. What makes these guys so, obviously and again, this is not to scale, but these are often bigger than these guys, and these phytosaurs are huge, and they've already taken the amphibious. I say amphibious, not amphibious as in you are an amphibian, the animal, or the group, family, or order, class, but actually amphibious as in you were between water and land, or mainly water, like hippos. So these guys took that job. So these guys were like, you know what, you bigger, toothier animals, you can take the water. We'll be on land. So that's especially offensive to me. And I imagine, I don't want to be mean, because I imagine the person who designed this is like home crying, watching this video, eating ice cream. I don't know why it's ice cream, and they're crying, and it's like a Tuesday. The point is, because this means something else. This design means a whole different lifestyle. So to put it on an animal that was terrestrial, that's kind of offensive. It's like, don't do that, because that's like saying, humans. We're humans. I imagine you're human watching this video, and we don't generally live in trees. A human can climb into a tree, but we don't live on a ground. We have like houses or apartments or huts or something. And so to have a human just like depicted in the tree constantly, that's like, no, we don't do that. This guy is not a water animal. It's not an amphibious animal. It's an amphibious animal. So that's what. I didn't notice that when I first saw it. I saw this and was like, how could they? And now I'm like, I'm outraged, I'm actually the manager. But anyway, again, now, would I throw away the figure? No. It's a neat little figure. It's cool in its own way. But what I've done in my brain to cope with these things is that I have these like here's science and here's this other file. And the only analogy I can give you in closing is that the raptors of Jurassic Park, the velociraptors, they are not like any Dromaeosaur. Like there's nothing like they're not feathered, And so Jurassic Park 3 they had feathers. Yeah, the boys. So in my mind, I realized I didn't do this on purpose. In my mind, I see like Dromaeosaurs, and the Jurassic Park raptors are like dragons. So like they're mythical. They're literally a modern mythical creature. They're something that's made up for storytelling, right? They just bear the name of a real thing, right? And so in my mind, these kind of toys here. They're like they're mythical interpretations of these animals. If you want the most accurate one, get a Safari 2019 Prestosuchus. It's the only one I know on the market that's accurate. So if you were a kid and you can't find this, you don't have eBay or other platforms, this is still cool. So enjoy it if you're happy. And at the end of the day, I rail against figures being inaccurate, but if they make you happy, they get happy. I love the Jurassic Park raptors. I think they're really cool. They're just not real, but they're really cool. I also love Hercules. He's really cool. It's not real, but except for those shows. That being said, I thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. We're going back. I have all my new stuff right there, so I'm like looking at what do we do next week? There are a couple cool options, but I'll see you next week. Thank you very much.